Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Healing Place Energy School. I want to welcome my Facebook family, my Instagram family, and my YouTube family. Normally, every single Tuesday night, we have a live Reiki meditation. And I think Robin has fallen behind, my co hostess. And we are two kick butt, I would say, Reiki mistresses who have been doing this for a long time. So I am so pleased that you are with me tonight. It's so funny. I'm thinking, wow, I'm doing two live talks in 1 week. And I said, you know, for me, it's fun, but it's kind of funny. I still get a little bit of stage fright, even though I've been doing a lot of these talks for the last 10 years, but I get a little bit tense. One of the subjects that Rob and I are going to talk about is personal boundaries. And one of the things about when you begin on your spiritual journey, this is something that is really important to really define what is considered your boundaries, especially if you are an empath, whereas you're absorbing everybody's energy like it is your own. And feel free to jump in if you have any comments about the subject or as I'm talking about something that resonates with you. I would love to hear your input. Mhm. Because it's important because we are building a community of like minded people. And I want to share with you not only my knowledge, but I love to get your input and how you see things as the world goes around. Mhm. And especially for those people who are, as I mentioned, started their spiritual journey. What does that mean? Usually, somewhere along the way, there's something I call it calling you. Something's calling you to say, hey, Helen, are you ready to live your life purpose? Are you ready to do the work you you have agreed to do within the lifetime? And Jean Kingsbury says she's the queen. Yes, you are. You're the most lovey-dovey queen, and I would say Jean's the queen of empaths. She is basically attract every. Now, Jean, I hope you won't be offended, but Jean is really good at attracting energy vampires. Why? Because Jean is such a lovey-dovey person. She gives without any hesitation. That's Jean. She operates from her heart. And if Robin was here, so does Robin Bornstein. They really want to give it their all in their personal best. Me, how do I define my energy? I give a lot of myself, but I develop what I consider healthy personal boundaries for me. I see quite a few clients at the Healing Place Medfield, and I do a lot of. I help people with digestive issues. What else? Headaches. Jean is definitely headaches, and what what else do I do? Autoimmune diseases, so forth and so on. And I could easily, when I first started this work 15 years ago, I used to come home with whatever the client had or clients, because I usually try to see 4 to 5 people a day. I felt like I've absorbed their pain, not only physical pain, but also emotional pain. And and I could actually feel it being transported to me to the point I became really concerned about. I said, oh man, if I don't develop these boundaries and think about every time I do any work, I'm going to get really sick. And I was so aware of that only because of the years of learning this type of work. I had to define boundaries. So, energy vampires. Everybody knows energy vampires. It could be family members, it could be friends, it could be extended family. Those are the people who constantly come to you because they come to you, especially if you're the empath. You're usually the hero in their lives. You're usually very reliable. You have tremendous amount of resources that people can depend on. And they know that if they are stuck, you will come to bat for them. So somebody asked me, well, I have children, small children. Does that mean that I don't define my personal boundaries? Well, as a parent, I believe we have a responsibility to raise what I consider the best you can, healthy human beings. But if that child is still dependent on you at the age of 40, 45 years old, and they're like a hot mess and they can't get their act together, and they're dependent on you to constantly fix their problems, yes, then we have what I call a personal boundary issues, because they have become so reliant on you, or perhaps you allow it to happen. Think about that. Especially if you are the type of person you're used to giving, 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 and then what happens a lot of time, once your role in that person's life has changed, all of a sudden you feel displaced. Displaced. Where am I? What am I supposed to do? I used to be mommy to a whole bunch of people, and now everybody's left the family, and I'm here alone. That's really is scary, because the job you had that used to define you is no more. So, what do you do in these types of situations? First of all, you already know what bothers you. I'm assuming you do. If you know somebody's taking advantage of you, you know it. And there's something about that person is making you feel really uncomfortable. It takes courage to make a change. It really does. And let's say in your family is going to constantly evolve. I'm assuming that once your small children become adults and perhaps they have their own family, all of a sudden your role has changed. So, how do you keep moving with the flow? This is what life is all about. The ebbs and flows of changes defines you and who you are, and how do you want to be seen, not only to them, but how do you want to be seen to yourself? One thing about power, personal power, which is part of personal boundaries, no one can take this away from you. The only way it could be gone from you if you choose to relinquish or surrender it. So think about the times in your life you had to do that type of negotiation, and think about when something is really going against your grain, how do you step up for yourself? You might step up for your children or perhaps a spouse, but how do you step up and be empowered for yourself? This is important because most empaths don't know how to ask for help. All right. And because we're ashamed or we're embarrassed, especially if we have always been the hero or the lifesavers in everybody's life. And all of a sudden, the role is no longer there. As part of the awakening process, which I describe in my 15-part first step to your spiritual journey, learning how to detach with love is a huge component of, I would say, the journey work, by understanding what your needs are and own what you feel without embarrassment. And this is really going to be key. How do you do it without feeling embarrassed about your needs? So the next time you get in this situation, okay, I'm going to give a tip right here. I want you to think about, what do you think you're giving away, and do you think is true? Do you need to stand up for yourself, or do you relinquish? Whichever decision you make, there is no wrong answer. Whatever you decide is the right answer. But you cannot have shame associated with that emotion. Because once shame comes in, what happens to the energy, your personal energy, instead of vibrating it loud like this, you start to diminish it. When you begin to diminish it over a length of time, this is when disease happens. This is when illness begins, because instead of your energy flowing brightly and you're glowing with it, your energy, your light starts to diminish. In fact, it literally almost shuts down. So does that resonate with everybody or anybody? Do you notice this when all of a sudden you're hiding from the world or you have to go underground? And what do you do to come back home to you and honor your soul? It's okay to know your value. This is a problem, especially most women have. They have a problem assessing how do they fit into the family, because they know they're the caregiver. They know they are mommy. They know in some ways in the back of their head, right there, they are the anchors of their family's life. Their whole life, more times than not, revolve around mom. Yes, it revolves around dad, but in some ways it really revolves around mom. Mom is more times than not is the anchor in the family. She's not only that, but she's also the energy anchor. So if mom is in a bad mood, and again, sometimes dad's in a bad mood too, but mom is more of a constant present than may sometimes dad. It could be the other way around too. All right, I gotta take a sip. I just learned Robin's not joining me. She says, Helen, don't you remember I have another event to go to tonight? Well, I'm having a senior moment here. Okay, let me take a sip. So as you start to evaluate your boundaries, one of the things about you need to think about is, don't compromise. This is really key, because this is not, your values are not there for negotiations. I'm sorry, they're really not. Because if you don't have what I consider a strong feet, or you're grounded, think about how quickly you could be knocked off your feet and also your energy field. So this is really quite something that I want you to think about. And and as you think about how you built your energy, don't go around sharing such personal information or you vent too much. I caught myself last week, a couple of weeks ago when I was on vacation. I was venting. I was really doing what I call an energy vampire. Someone triggered me about something, someone in my family. And then before I knew it, I had diarrhea of the mouth and I couldn't stop talking. And I was catching myself thinking, I don't have the right to do this to anybody, to what I call throwing up on someone. So if you're the kind of person like to vent, think about, why are you doing the venting? You know, I have an in-law. She says, I'm okay. As soon as I say what I need to say, I'm okay. And I'm thinking, but how does it affect me when you dump? Especially, I don't feel comfortable in calling her on her crap, but I do now because I'm getting too close to the age of 70. So there's a lot of things I'll say that I would not have said as a teenager. So really understand why you are venting. And if you need help, it's okay to ask for help because you're not, what do you call it, indestructible. You can't just keep going and going and going until you drop. Because what happens, this is what I've noticed, especially moms who runs on empty, energetic emptiness, they get nothing left from themselves. They're usually emotional wreck or they're a mess. And think about this, like even with your children, um, especially if they're influenced by other people's opinions. And today we have social media. Who isn't intimidated by the things they see? Really, as you're evaluating or you're comparing yourself to somebody else's life, you're constantly thinking of, why don't I have that? Or why did I start so late? Yeah, why did I start so late in life? Somebody asked me once, well, I should say several times, quite a few times. I started my business. I started all over at the age of 52. And here I am, 67. And I remember someone said, don't you wish you started earlier? And I'm like, no, I couldn't have, even if I wanted to, because I did not have the life experiences to do what I'm doing today. So instead of feeling ashamed for what you don't have, why not express gratitude for everything that you do have? Something as small as thank you. And I even thank my husband. You'd be surprised the powers of I appreciate you. And best of all, take those words and say, I appreciate me. This is something I had to learn when I was in energy medicine school for 3 years. I had to do a lot of self-processing work about what does appreciation look like. And the smallest things make me happy, going for a walk. Or today I was working on a young client and I had no idea how to help her. She unfortunately has inflammation of the brain and she unfortunately triggered OCD within her. And the last time I saw her, I didn't expect her to come back, to tell you truthfully. She had a major meltdown to the point she was crying hysterically. And I'm like, oh man, okay, I'm trying really hard to manage my energy and stay grounded. And most importantly, not to have a judgment. This is key, not to judge what's going on. Instead, I just stay present. I probably watched her, trying to make eye contact to let her know I'm here for her. I may not necessarily understand everything that's going on, but I could feel her pains. And all empaths are really good at this. We feel everyone's pains as though it belongs to us. But as long as we understand the pains do not belong to us. If you can say that to yourself, that is the next step to your healing and defining what is personal boundaries mean to you. So that's something, again, it always means coming home to your heart, to your soul. But don't get to the point where you feel so hard on yourself that you couldn't help. That's okay. We are not going to know every single situation. We can't. I don't think we can fix every single situation. So what do? we stay present, we understand, we have empathy. And isn't this what a heart center person is? Staying center so I can help that person. So today, when she came to see me, the young lady, I had no idea what to do. In fact, I asked my spirit guides to help me. I asked God, what should I do? Because if she does another meltdown, I don't know how I'm going to react. So what I did as soon as she walked through the door, I noticed her energy was different. It was a little bit disarray, and she was shaken because she had so much energy running through her chakras. I knew I had to help her to calm her down energetically, her central nervous system. And what I did was I said to her, "Can I give you a hug?" And when I did, I told her how proud I was of her that she had the courage to come see me today, even though somewhere down here she didn't feel like it, but she needed the help so badly at this point. Her family did not know what to do. So I spoke to her soul, not to her. I spoke to her soul. And somewhere underneath all that chaos, her soul heard me. So this is a part of the awakening process. And I said things that she agreed she needed help. So I started the session with a Reiki just to calm down her nerves because she was shaking so bad inside. Um, the way I describe it's like a hive of bees just buzzing around. So I'm redirecting the energy. And then what I also did too was because I knew she had so much extra energy in her, I pulled it out. For those people who understand psychic surgery, Reiki surgery, I literally went into her aura and started pulling the energy out of her. And she had so much muck, darkness. And I just kept pulling and pulling. And then I asked God or the universe, spirit guide, please help me transform this energy into something positive. I must have spent 10 minutes pulling. So that's a lot of muck inside here on a cellular level, on the soul level, and it's also on a spiritual level. Because I'm one of those people, you need all three of those dimensions in order to physically heal without any residue. And then what I did was I did some more Reiki to help to balance the energy. Then I started to work on her feet. I worked on the central nervous system to calm her down. And then I noticed as I was breathing through her, the energy, she was still trembling. I said, oh man, there's something in her. I'm going to say this, it might sound a little weird, but I had to do a psychic extraction. So what does that mean? She had an energy living inside of her. Some people would call it entities. It could be energy entities. It could be something mucky from the universe, because what happens when you become emotionally sick, you attract all kinds of energy that we can't see. So I'm one of those people, I'm a great believer in that movie, Men in Black. You see those entities that walking around on this earth. I'm one of those people who believe in that. And that could be what do you call conspiracy theory. There's so much energy out there that we don't understand, that we don't see. And if you're energetically sensitive to it, you can actually feel different vibrations with different people, because we don't jive with everybody. No matter how hard we try, we just can't jive with everyone. So I know that's a lot of information that I am sharing with you. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to give you a chance. We got 5 more minutes left. if you have any questions, this is a good time to ask me. This is the kind of stuff that I usually would talk in my classroom if I was teaching Reiki. It's not something I usually would talk on live broadcast, but it's just one thing that's led to another. So let me take a drink. And if you don't have any questions, I'm going to sign off. So I know it's a lot to think about what I just said. Oh man, it's nothing like channeling information. And my brain is a little tired from today. Hi, Jennifer. If you have any questions, feel free to ask because this is not the kind of stuff you could ask very many people. And one thing because I've given over 10,000 healing sessions. So I have a pretty good eye for a lot of different things. And I've seen a lot of things over the last 15 years, let me put it that way. So that's my take on healthy personal boundaries. Learning how to say no, learning how to say not now, learning to say, I don't know, and have no shame in it. Learning how to say, I can't. Learning how to say, I won't. This is how you will grow your spirit, grow your soul, and it will encourage you and support you on your spiritual growth in this lifetime. All right, everybody. So I'm going to sign off. My throat's tired, and I want you to be well. And if you want to, I'll think of another subject next week to talk about because usually I think about a topic as I'm doing these live talks. All right. I want you to be healthy and safe. Please follow, share, like, subscribe. What is the other? I'm going to say it, the other BS that goes with this. Let's build a light mind community and help everybody. Bye-bye and be well.